Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest, my friend for the past decade plus, Steve Richman. Steve, welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me, and I'm already gonna argue with you.
Okay.
If you're under 18, you can still watch, man. I have no problem. I don't have to be 18 plus. We're all family friendly. It's all good.
Well, you know, we are, and I do a good job of curbing some of my language. And if I don't, John does a really good job of bleeping out the parts that I will sometimes just get overly excited and I use choice words. So, but 18 plus is kind of our shtick. It's kind of like who we are. We're letting the audience know that, hey, look, we're coming at you. We're coming at you raw. We're going to be real. And we're going to let you know the world according to us based on our experiences. What I want to do today is introduce the world to you, to those that don't know you. Like, I'm very fortunate that I met you years ago because, in my opinion, you were one of the best public speakers that I was fortunate enough to attend a conference and hear you speak. Right, and at the time, you were with this mortgage insurance company that was called Genworth. It's now called Enact.
Actually, when you met me, it was called GE.
Okay.
We went through, sorry, one of the things about public speaking, the better your memory, you get that recall to be able to just throw it out there and make that happen. So yeah, it was GE Mortgage Insurance, then it was Genworth Mortgage Insurance, it is now Enact Mortgage Insurance. So we've gone through those three generations, if you will, or iterations is a better word.
Yes, and you were the national spokesman.
Yes.
That was my title for you. I don't know if that was your title, but that's the title I would tell people. Oh yeah, have you heard Steve Richman with GE, Genworth, now Enact? He's the national spokesman.
And in today's beautiful world, I changed that actually to the spokesperson.
Spokesperson?
Yes, I wanted to make sure
Yes.
that, I don't want anybody to go, oh my gosh, can I, did it. We're all good.
Well, now, if you were a lady, I would have said spokeswoman. Like,
Right.
I tend to not even go neutral. I just go straight at it. I probably shouldn't, huh? But like, if you were Stephanie and not Steve, I'd be like, yeah, she was the national spokeswoman for Genworth Mortgage Insurance.
Well, sometimes you got to get in touch with your inner Stephanie. So I have no problem with that either, right? But I think that's a huge thing, just looking out, you said, hey, let's go get real and all that. I was at this conference where we are, and I went to something called Empower, and it's about women. It's a women's conference, and it's promoting women and step up, lean in and step up to the table and raise your hand. And I'm hearing all these stories. I'm like, I think maybe I am a woman because they're like, hey, you should do all this. I'm like, well, I should too. And you said, oh, it's 18 plus. My son's 25. I'm like, I wish you were there. Just knock out the word woman. You should be doing all those things also. It has nothing to do with your gender or age. It's everybody should be doing those things.
Let's talk about where we are because we haven't told the audience. You live in North Carolina. I live in Florida, but we're in San Diego, California right now.
Not a bad place to be. We're overlooking the water, even though the lighting doesn't work. But my gosh, this view is phenomenal.
Yeah, right. So when John and I set up the remote podcast studio, I had this grand idea of I made sure I got a room with a great view, and we were going to look out over the bay and see the sailboats, and you can actually see some of the military helicopters and planes going by, but the lighting sucks.
But I agree that the lighting was not good. But listen to me. Still a great room. I don't know what he paid for this thing, baby, but he laid down some coin just to have me up in here.
Shout out to Marriott. I'm a Marriott
guy.
Boom,
boom, boom.
I'm a Marriott guy. We're at the Marriott Marquis. Shout out to Marriott. I used points.
I was going to say, throw the points on the table and life's good.
Yes. Now, you're not with Genworth / Enact anymore.
Correct.
Right? You are now the national spokesperson, brand ambassador for VanDyk Mortgage.
Yeah, I get to make up my title wherever I go. So yes, I am with VanDyk Mortgage. I'm the national director of strategic growth and branding.
Well, so I want to lean into that. I want to find out what that is, because I want you to maybe share some of the information that you're sharing with the good folks over at VanDyk with our audience. But I also want to talk about your story and your journey, because it plays into a lot of things that we talk about on the show, or even the questions that we field. Like, the best part about the show is people watch it on YouTube. People tune in and listen to it, whether it's like Spotify or Google Play or Apple. But on the YouTube channel at the Loan Officer Podcast, wink, wink, nod, nod, you can comment. So people comment. There's a really cool back and forth going on. People will hit us up on LinkedIn, which is always a good way to get a hold of me. And the questions that they ask, a lot of times it's just career advice they need, right? And you have a really cool career story because you have your JD. You went to college to be an attorney. And then what happened? Did you ever become an attorney?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was in court every single day for 4 years. I was the person, it was like, I'd walk in the office and they'd hand me the folder and I'm like, okay, I did everything, anything that needed litigation that was not criminal. I did a little bit of criminal, like speeding tickets and stuff like that, but I was like, I'm not going into that criminal law stuff.
But that was decades ago.
I guess it was about 92 to 96. I did it for 4 years and I was miserable every single day. And it was bad. I was not happy. And my wife, God bless her, I mean, she has to put up with this. Been together since 1988. I met her in 7th grade.
No
we went
way.
to junior high, high school, and college together.
What
we
a
started
cool story.
dating as juniors in college. We said, should we be more than just friends? It's like, okay, let's try. And hey, it's 2021 and we're still trying, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So I would say, I'm so unhappy. She says, I don't want to live with you for the next 40, 50, 60 years. If you're going to be like, go do something else. It's fine. You got the law degree. It didn't work. Go find something else. And I'm like, who are you? You're an amazing woman.
So cool story. You grow up, obviously you're a good student. You get your bachelor's degree. You then apply to law school. You get into law school. You're telling me off camera, really cool story. You were year 1 into law school? And at that point you had an like an idea or inclination that you weren't going to like it?
It was more than an idea and an inclination. It was, I knew it. I'll tell you exactly what happened. So I'm sitting there. It's now 2nd semester. So we're into the winter, getting into the spring, and we go on spring break, right? And I go home.
Daytona Beach, baby.
No, it was 7910 Stevenson Road, Baltimore, Maryland, with Linda and Manny's house. Okay, that's where I was doing my spring break. And I went in and I said to my dad, I'm like, I'm done. This is not for me. These are not my people. This is not my life. Steven, I'm Steve now.
Yes.
I'm grown up now. So now I'm Steve. But Steven, just do me one favor. Finish school. Let me take a 1-year break. You're never going to go back. Finish, get the degree. It's important. So I was like, okay. You know, when dad tells you to do something, you go do it. At least back then.
Yes.
That's what we did. So I did it.
Grind it out, baby.
And I went in, and then for 4 years, I was in court every single day. Every single day. You get into the public speaking, right? I always knew if I was going to be a lawyer, I had to be a courtroom attorney, right? Because I'm a lot of mouth.
So you knew early on. You knew early on, this is a skill set and a talent that I have and something that I want to do more of.
Oh, I probably knew that I was a good public speaker. Probably the first time that I ever realized what it was, I was in high school and we're over my friend's house and her name's Amy.
Okay.
And she was, you know that when you're in high school, you have that one friend that like the parents hang out to and it's okay. And it's all, you know, so we're all sitting there and we had a friend and he was a rather wealthy kid, but came from a wealthy family. And I stood up one day and I called him the poor little rich boy. And I did about a 30-minute shtick routine, whatever. And I mean, in front of all of our friends, you know, there's 20 people sitting in this room, their parents were there and everybody's laughing. I'm like, that feels good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like,
cool.
you know, grabbing that room and making it happen there. So that I didn't realize it at that time that would lead me to where I am, but I did identify that skill and that feeling.
So you finished law school because dad was like, Steven,
Gotta go.
you got to do
Steven,
it. Then
finish.
Then you had a career as an attorney, not just any attorney, a trial attorney, right? Because there's many attorneys I'm under the understanding they don't go to court and they don't sit in front of a panel of judges.
That would be my sister.
Okay.
I mean, she has absolutely no idea. She calls me up. She's like, I got a speeding ticket. What do I do? I'm like, okay, because I don't even know where the courthouse is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she's just documents and reading them and flipping through them, and that's what she does.
But fast forward past that, you've been spending the past 20 years motivating others, right? You stand up and speak sometimes for hours at a time, motivating and entertaining others, right? Like true story, watching you speak, and I've watched you speak at least half a dozen times over the years, and it's something that I make sure I go do, because there's certain times I go to conferences, I look at the speaker lineup, and I'm like, you know what, that may be a good time for me to go check email, or that may be a good time for me to go get my run in, right? But you were never one that did. And one thing that I learned from you that I want to make sure we do on the show is I want to make sure we do two things every episode. We need to entertain and educate. Now, if we can inspire and motivate, then we're hitting a grand slam. But I'm cool with doubles all day long, right? But doubles, it requires entertaining and it requires educating. You do that very well. So thank you. I've never had a chance to say thank you, but thank you because I've drawn inspiration from that.
Well, it's funny you say it because people, oh, you're a motivational speaker. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a practical speaker because all I want to do, and if success and where you're going to get, if that's motivating for you, then I guess I am a motivational speaker. But my goal is not to motivate you. I figure you're already listening, so you're motivated yourself. How can I help you get what you're trying to accomplish?
Oh, I love that. So
I look at it.
Let's talk more about that. So like you're in a different...
Dude, I'm loving your ADD. I mean, no matter what we talk about, you're like, we're going down that hole. We're
Yes.
going down that hole. Yeah,
Oh.
It's like, but that's the trick of being a good speaker. Seriously, everybody... You're not married to the slides that are on the screen behind you. If all of a sudden you got that good story and you can go down there and really drive that home, do it.
Yeah.
Because nothing bores people more than, hi, I've given this speech 100 times and let me go read it off of this card and off of this screen. Everybody hates that. So when you actually divert, that's when people go, oh, they're going to say something different because this is unrehearsed. They're going to mess up. I got to go listen to this. Now I'm getting this is so important. They're blowing off what they thought they were going to say just to tell this story. And it's usually not even that good a story, but at least you got them there for that minute. Right?
Well, you and I are going to jump into it because I think the audience can eat up hearing you basically do what you do every day, right? Like your job at VanDyk Mortgage is to get out in the community as a brand ambassador, bring positive attention to VanDyk. You also are being paid.
Hopefully it's positive.
It'll be positive.
We're going to hope it's positive.
But you're also working with the executive team on making sure they're the most practical, thoughtful leaders, and you're also working with their loan officers to make sure they're most productive. So you have some words of wisdom from your experiences that you can relate, or maybe it's just things you picked up along the way, and you have the ability to use your talent to get that message across. So that's something that I do want to lean into. But yes, rabbit holes are very welcome on this particular show. And honestly, when I speak, I personally like less scripted and more Q&A. I would rather, if you're giving me an hour, like, cool, I'll come speak for 25 or 30 minutes, but I want the next 30 minutes to be about the audience and what they want. Because I want to speak to what they want to hear, not what I want to say, right? So yeah, I prefer rabbit holes for that reason, because it lets us, get some of the best and juiciest and meatiest content pushed out, and usually it's what people want.
Well, let's go down that public speaking rabbit hole right there. So we are in San Diego. We're in a conference. It was Saturday. And a woman, friend of mine, she comes up to me and she says, I just got tapped. I have to introduce the keynote speaker. The person who was supposed to be here did not make it, and I have to do it. There's about 500 people in the audience. I'm scared to death. You speak all the time. What do I do? I said, no problem. I'm going to sit there front row. You just look at me and talk to me. Then let the other 499 people, they're just eavesdropping in on our conversation. So just like you and I are having and that's the whole point. If I'm just talking to you, they're just listening. Let them just listen and get those nuggets or whatever. But I'm just having a conversation with you, and all of a sudden, people, I'm afraid of public speaking. I'm like, have you talked to a friend ever? Yeah. I used to teach public speaking.
Okay.
At a place called, it was Towson State University. It's now Towson University. And so I would just go in, and the way that I would start class, before I even introduced myself, so I'd walk in 5 minutes early, I'd just sit down, and I go, how you doing? Just to whoever was sitting at the desk next to me. I looked young. I still look young. What can I tell you? So I'm sitting there, and I look at the person next to me. I'm like, how you doing? What year are you? And I just start talking to them, and then I'd stand up and like, oh my God, you're the teacher. I'm like, yeah. And like, who here likes public speaking? Nobody. I'm like, you just did it. You and I just had that conversation. We were in the front row and everybody was just listening. What's the problem with standing up here and doing it than just having that one-on-one conversation? So
sage advice. What else do you have? Let's lean into this. Let's talk about tips and tricks to become a better public speaker.
Entertain yourself.
Okay.
See, people do this, and you did it. And I was like, don't ask me these questions. You said, let's talk a little bit beforehand. No, it becomes so much more natural. It's so much more engaging when you're not. You need to be prepared that you know what your story is, but you don't have to know your story scripted, right? Yeah. Hey, you said I went to the game yesterday and this was really cool and this is what happened. Fantastic, but you don't have to tell every detail, because if you go in and you're entertaining yourself and doing that whole story, that's where it starts to really come together. I'm all about that extemporaneous speaking, and I'm not a scripted. And what I watch people do all the time when they do script, they knew they wanted to say this one word, and now they're working for that word, and now they can't remember that word, and now they're getting nervous about it, and then they start You know what the audience doesn't know? What
That
you're
word?
going to say.
Yes.
They have no idea what you're up there talking about. So why not just tell them a story? One-on-one. Have a nice day. Oh, yeah, we can do water.
Yes.
I'm sorry, water. See,
Water.
look, water, baby. We're going back to Balmer, hun. How you doing?
Yeah, I was giving Steve a little bit of crap before we turned the cameras on because I could hear his Baltimore accent
It's
coming
thick,
in
baby.
thick,
It's thick.
real thick.
Hey.
And my family's from Maryland, and my dad washes his clothes. And I asked Steve, I said, "Well, you say water, but do you wash your clothes?" And he said, "No, but my grandmother, she used to go to Washington D.C."
Absolutely. And I'm a Ravens guy, so just I'm throwing that out there. I know you went to a baseball game the other day. So,
I love the Ravens. I love them back from Ed Reed, Trent Dilfer. I love number 52. I mean, number 52, Ray Lewis, is by far one of my favorite players ever. So no, I can get on that Baltimore Ravens bandwagon with you all day long.
I'm there.
That is easy to do. How about this? So we're at the
annual.
annual.
And now people just said, "Oh my God, that's so cool." They're talking sports now. You go down that, it's unscripted, it's natural. That's what people want to do.
So when you're public speaking, that's your recommendation. If you're sitting in a group of professionals or a class at Towson University,
Towson. There's no N in the middle, baby.
Man, I'm from Orlando. We say Towson.
Towson Tigers,
Towson.
right
Okay.
there.
Where's Towson?
Off of 83, just north of the city. It's sitting right there. And, get some Bill Bateman's wings right after. I would do that. I'd speak at night, and then I'd walk down the hill, and then I'd go get my Bill Bateman's wings, and then I'd go home.
So we're at the National Mortgage Bankers Conference, right?
Yes.
Like every year, it's in October. Next year, it'll be in Nashville. I've been to Boston. You've probably been to Austin. We're in San Diego now. You got here early, so you could participate in the Empower aspect. So it's broken out into segments, and Empower is something that the mortgage industry is doing, trying to make it less white, old male.
Well, it made me laugh as I'm watching the whole thing. I was talking to a woman, and she used this phrase, and I was like, okay, that's just too good. Can I borrow it? She's like, yeah. She goes, I'm looking out, and all I see is male and pale.
Male and pale.
Male and pale. So it was cracking me up. You got all these 50-year-old white guys going, hey, how do we reach out to women and people of color and the LGBT community? But we're a bunch of 50-year-old white guys trying to figure that out, And it's like, oh my gosh. I wish there was an easy, there is an easy solution to it. It just literally, how do we reach out? By reaching out.
Yeah, but
just talk to somebody. It's literally what it is.
It's been a cool conference. There's like 5,000 of us out here. Like 5,000 mortgage professionals or people who support the mortgage industry all poured into San Diego, and it kicked off Saturday with the Empower group, which is empowering women in the mortgage industry. You participated. I didn't get out here till late Sunday, so I was unable to participate in that. But I met with various colleagues and vendors, and we talked a lot about diversity and inclusion. We talked a lot about low to moderate income and how do we get more people into houses with affordable payments, and how do we help them create wealth through home ownership? What does 2022 look like? Are we going to see a drastic fall? Are rates going to go up, or is volume going to go down? Are people still going to buy houses? What's all this going to do? And it's a lot of noise. It's things that you need to be prepared for. I'm curious on your take though. What are you telling your loan officers, your executives that look to you for your guidance and your leadership? What are you telling them about 2022 to 2025 and what they need to be focused on?
Number one, refi is refi. Okay, that's just gravy. That's never your strategy.
Mm-hmm.
If your strategy is refi, you got a short-term strategy. I mean, we're off the public speaking. We're now back in the mortgage game, right?
Yep.
So number one, refi, happy when it happens, but that's not your strategy. So obviously you're going for the purchase market. The inventory. I will say this, amen that there's no inventory out there right now. And I know if you're a real estate agent or a mortgage professional, I need more inventory. If I had more inventory, I could do more loans. Stop. Right now, we have more equity in home ownership in the United States of America than at any other time. And we also have a lack of inventory. What does that do? That is, to me, the big tell of why it's not 2008, 2009, the bubble all over again. Because back then, when all of a sudden you're saying, hey, man, my house is worth $200,000, I owe $300,000, I'll walk away. And now we have a glut of all these houses that are sitting there and nobody's there. Now you're saying, wait a second, my house is worth $300,000, I only owe 200. If you lose your job or you have to walk away, you're still what? There's no inventory. You can go sell it, and all of a sudden you have money to be able to pay your bills and continue to survive.
Yep.
And and you said amen every day during COVID, and I don't like COVID, and I'm whatever. We don't have to get into that. And if you had personal bad experience about COVID, I'm very, very sorry for that. But every day I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I got out of law in the mortgage business, because mortgage and real estate has been very good during this time.
Yep.
And that's what I'm telling people to focus on. There is such a desire to own homes right now that, yes, there's a lack of inventory, but this is not going to go away. I mean, you're during COVID, you're during one of the worst things that has happened in this country, health-wise, and it's affected jobs and this and that. And guess what? Mortgage and real estate still going forward very strong. So purchase. I think, and I keep trying to beat the drum on folks, call your real estate agents, because real estate agents are staying. I know, it's all fintech, it's all going into that. You're still going to need the people. You still need the relationships. You're going to be able to go forward and do that. And that's back to the public speaking and making it. So you go in and do that. But so real estate agents are there. I think builder is where it's coming in. You got to start meeting with these builders and talking to builders, because there are not enough houses out there right now, especially for that first-time home buyer. Especially, I know you said, hey, the 18-plus crowd, there's plenty of houses for a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old, a condo. Look at this lovely room we're sitting in. But when it comes, builder business is where it's going to be, because they're coming in, and you watch what the administrations are doing, and they're trying to encourage more and more first-time home buyers, and they're going to give builder credits for it and stuff like that.
Yeah, yep. I love your thought on leaning into builders. Like, something that I'm encouraging our loan officers to go out and do is, A, get good at public speaking. Get more like Steve. Become more like Steve, right? And get in front of the real estate community. What if they started teaching them how to create inventory? If inventory is an issue, what are we doing to create it? Do realtors really know the powers of a construction permanent loan, a CP loan? What if realtors were out there helping builders find lots so the builders could build a home, and then the builder might not be a large national builder, maybe it's a smaller builder. So that smaller builder doesn't have a whole lot of cash, but if you can introduce that person to a lender, that lender has construction lending, you're out creating inventory. And then if the realtor's doing all of that, the builder should be willing to pay that realtor a 3% commission on a new construction home for $300,000, $400,000, or $500,000. Same thing goes to the real estate investors. Are loan officers reaching out to real estate investors, introducing them to their realtors, so that the real estate investors can go buy homes that maybe are in disrepair, fix them up so that you're creating new inventory? So I think these are ways that loan officers are going to have to get creative going forward, leaning into what you said about, hey, builders where it's at. Yeah, creating inventory. Creating inventory is where it's at. Where can you go create inventory?
I would lean in a different direction. I wouldn't even talk about construction to perm, because everybody thinks it has to be construction to perm. Most people that do business with a builder, they're not doing construction to perm program.
Correct. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, right? Oh, it's construction to perm. No, it's not. Now you just told me it's something I don't know. Here, you a loan officer? Loan officer, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a practical speaker. I'm not a motivational speaker. Flat out. You go to a real estate agent. You show them, it's an app. It's called Remove BG, REMOVE BG. BG stands for background. You show them Remove BG, then they take that app and they show it to their builder. I'm telling you that you just forged a relationship between that. Now we have the LO, the realtor, and the builder, and you have a relationship with all three because of that one app. See, stop talking so much about programs and everybody's throwing that kind of stuff, but now you're helping them grow their business. See, that's the whole trick to it. If you're helping somebody do that, that's the value add. If you're giving them something that they didn't know that they were going to get and that's nobody else had brought to them, now we're differentiating ourselves. So what Remove BG does is you can take your phone,
okay,
and you just whatever, or it's your computer, doesn't matter, iPad, I don't care what you're on. Take a picture, because this is why I love it with builders. What's builder do? They build a house. So they got the spec house, but what's the last thing that they do on that house?
I have no idea. I've never built a home before.
Landscaping.
Oh, okay.
Right? They build the house.
Yes,
They're not worried about the landscaping. It's the last thing. So when you're a buyer, you're looking at that house, and what do you see? A pile of dirt.
Yeah.
So you go and take a picture of that house, and then you go to the app called Remove BG, and boom, and you do that, and it removes the background. So all you see is the highlighted house. It's not a white background. It's like floating in space. What'd you just do? You made that house featured, and now you got rid of all the trash that's around it and the dirt and everything like that. And they're going, oh my God, you just helped with my marketing. You help somebody with their marketing. What happens? They like you.
It's they like you, they use you, right?
Because everybody else is going, I got great rates, great products, and great customer service. Oh, fantastic. Never heard that one before. No one's ever walked up to a builder and said, hey, when it comes to customer service, that's not my niche. They're just not going to say that. I can look at anybody's website. I know what it says on page 1. We're great at customer service. Okay, so now you better be, being great at customer service is baseline. That's an expectation. That's a requirement to be in business today. That's not a differentiator. If you're not good at customer service, you'll be out of business.
Facts.
So you just... Stop telling me how great you are at it. Do it. Show it.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do right there. I'm sorry. I go
love
down
this.
those rabbit holes,
let's
baby.
Let's go. Wind him up
Let's
and
go.
let him
That's
go.
what it is. Boom, boom, boom. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, the practical speaker. What else do you have for us?
But let's go as practical speaking. What I love, and here, you ever want to do speaking, especially everybody's on Zoom calls and stuff like that. That guy, you can't see him. There's a very good-looking man sitting right over there. His voice is so much better than mine. I might be a better speaker, but I don't know. Right? But he's got a great voice. When I started, especially on the Zoom calls, I would make my daughter sit in the room with me because I've watched him more than I watch you. Mm-hmm. When he laughs, I'm good. And then you see me, I'm starting to get he's doing it right now. He's like, yeah, I was doing that. So, right? So I could see that. And when I also saw him do what? You know what you did? He reached in his pocket, he pulled out his phone, and he was checking a text. I'm like, okay, let's go talk about something else because we just bored him. So I know by looking at that one-on-one, it's so hard when you're staring at a screen and you're like, I have no idea if I'm relating to somebody or not. So I put a live person in the room. My daughter, I'm like, you're home from school from COVID. Guess what? Park it over there. And when I say something and I make a little comment and she laughs, I'm like, all right, I'm going to ride that.
Do you do that almost every time you speak? Do you look for at least one friendly? Whether you bring them and plant them or whether you get there early, the way you used to when you were a teacher at the university, and befriend one or two people so that you always have two friendlies in the audience that you can speak more one-on-one with?
Do I always do that? Not anymore.
Okay.
If I can, that's wonderful. But that's the challenge of it. That's why I love it. People go, are you nervous before you speak? I'm like, every time. Mm-hmm. Every time. I said, when I get nervous? When I'm not nervous. So I like to go in. I know I'm dabbing. Why? I'm nervous for you people. Okay. That's where I am. But I'm always nervous. But I think that puts me on my game because now I know I'm fighting for your attention. Instead, if I'm not nervous, I'm like, they already they're a friendly. They're going to smile anyway. Oh no. I want the person I've never met before to smile and to be my friendly. And this I learned, and I got this one from Mark Maron. Do you know who Mark Maron is?
I know Mark Marrow, the wrestler.
No,
I don't know Mark Maron.
All right, brother, here we go. Okay, so no, Mark Maron is a comedian, and he has one of the top podcasts. It's called WTF. So we're 18 plus.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So you know who that is?
No, but I always wanted to have a radio show called WTF Radio.
Okay.
So someone else beat me to it, obviously.
He did.
Okay.
So, and he's been in movies, and now he's got some TV shows because he's rebirth again. He like fell down for a while. Nobody knew who he was, and now he's big again. But I'd love to listen to. He doesn't do it's not a shticky podcast. It's not one that says, hey, let me do a joke. Let me do a joke. He interviews other comedians, and they talk about their experiences in front of audiences. So I think it's wonderful as a speaker. I listen to that technical way. How can I learn from what they're saying? Because they're the ones who also do it. And what he said once, he goes, early in my career, and I've changed it, you stand up on that stage or in front of that room, and you always got that one guy or that one woman who's just sitting there the whole time like this. I hate you. You know that person, right? And early in my career, I'm like, I'm going to make you love me. So I would blow off everybody else in the room and talk to that one person to make that person love me. What an idiot I was. You know what? Hey, sorry, you're going to have a lousy hour, but I'm going to talk to my 99 friends over here, and enjoy your Fiji water, okay? Yeah. Fiji water, it's good for the soul, right? You do what you want to do. But I'm going to fight for that person. Now I'm like, that's their problem, not my problem, and I talk to everybody else. And 9 times out of 10, that person will come up to me afterwards and say, that was great.
And you're like, I would have never known it.
I would have never known it. I had this one woman, I said, I'm sorry, I didn't really connect with you there. I was hoping that. She goes, I thought that was awesome. I'm like, really? She goes, sorry, I have RBF. Okay, so do you know what RBF
yes,
is? Yeah,
yes,
okay. So
yeah.
she goes, I got RBF. I'm like, oh, she goes, because I thought that was great. So stop putting these negative thoughts in your head when you're standing up in front of an audience thinking, I'm looking at that. When somebody laughs, I know I got them. But if they're not laughing, that doesn't mean that they're not with you. If they're looking at their phone or something, yeah, they might not be with you. But if they can look miserable, but they're still looking at you, which means, you know what? They're engaged. And we interpret that as negative if they're not smiling.
What's your preference when the audience is looking down on their phone?
Oh, I call them out.
Do you?
I bust chops.
Yeah.
You can get away with so much with humor. So, I mean, the line that I just use all the time, I'll see that one person's on their phone. I'm like, oh my God, he loves this so much. He's tweeting how good my presentation is right now,
Okay.
right? And then all of a sudden they go, yeah, I was doing that, right? And they throw the phone down and they sit up. And now what happens? Everybody else in the room is going, he's going to bust me if I do something wrong. So I do that all the time. Another one, I learned this one out in Las Vegas. I was speaking at Mandalay Bay. I'm going to tell you, this was probably, definitely it might be in the 2009, 8 category, okay? The company I was...
Post-meltdown.
Like middle meltdown.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the company that I was talking for no longer exists, and that's just what happens. And I was doing mortgage insurance at the time, and there was one person. Yes, you have a question. Yeah, I mean, we had 300 people in the audience. It was really neat. It was like a movie theater kind of thing, so the big screen behind me. And I hate MI. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I would like to talk to you about today, I still hate MI. And like 5 times how much he hates my product, which I'm not even talking about. And you know what happened? Every other person in that room turned on him. They didn't turn on me. See, we all got taught something when we were little kids. What happens when we're bringing in a special guest into first grade? What happens, children?
Well, we sit down, we cross our legs, we shut our mouths, and we only raise our hand if we want to be spoken to.
You be on your best behavior. Let's make them feel welcome and special, right? I mean, that's what they taste. So all of a sudden I'm there. That entire room turned on him and supported me better than any room's ever supported me in the past. So when people start to get tough with me, I'm like, bring it, because everybody else there is going to have your back. And it's so funny because we think, oh my gosh, I got that one negative. I bet you everybody else is negative. No, they know. They're like, this guy's standing up with this. I hate public speaking. You hate public speaking. This guy's doing it, and you're going to give him a hard time? So they understand what you're going through, and they will respond positively if someone is being negative to you.
So let's do this now.
Yes, sir.
We've picked the brain of Steve Richman, the public speaker.
Slim pickings.
Okay, we're going to keep picking. We've picked your brain, Steve Richman, the mortgage professional, right? You are a mortgage professional. That
indeed.
is the space that you have dedicated your life to for the past 20 plus years, right?
96.
Since 1996, that's 25 years.
Well,
it's a quarter century.
See,
Look at that.
we're a mortgage. We're pretty good at math. We can go from 2021 to 96.
That's
just
some
like
quick math.
that.
It's funny.
Yeah, baby.
I can do that math. I can't do
You have no idea how-
algebra. I
Oh.
can't do 8th grade algebra. Couldn't do it.
I thought you were going to say, I have no idea how long I've been married to my wife, but
19
I know you were
years.
doing that, right?
19 years. It'll be
years. There
20
you go.
in July. July of 2022 will make 20 years. I think we're going to head up to Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine.
Really?
Yeah, July, Vermont. Yeah, it sounds like a good time. Good eating, better weather than Florida is in July. So yeah, it'll be 20 years. So that math I do know. Although I did text my sister-in-law. I know her birthday is October 20th, which happens to be today. That we're taping this on October 20th.
Happy birthday
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, happy birthday, Melissa. But I texted her on October 18th, legitimately thinking it was her birthday because she was out celebrating. The girls had gone and done spa day to celebrate her milestone occasion. And for whatever reason, I didn't look at my watch to see what day it was. So I screwed that up, but I didn't screw up my anniversaries. Total rabbit hole there. But
No,
what
but I'm going to stay in that rabbit hole.
Okay.
And especially at the age of the group and everybody that we're talking, here's 2 things that you got to do with birthdays. Number 1, never wish somebody happy birthday on Facebook.
high five. High five.
Don't
Thank
do it.
you. Thank you.
You know what you do? You see it
text
it's on
them.
Facebook, and then you text or you call them, and you say, we're more than just Facebook friends. We're real friends.
That is, as if you and we've never talked about this before.
Nope.
I purposely have pulled my birthday off of Facebook. I've watched one of my best friends passed away of an Oxycontin overdose about 10 years ago. 3 years after his death, people were wishing him birthday, like happy birthday on Facebook.
I see that. It's horrible.
like-
yeah, well, you're really good friends with him.
I'm like,
I see it all the time.
Yeah, homeboy passed away 3 years ago. And that, so yeah, I never wanted someone to wish me happy birthday if you didn't know me. If you don't know me well enough to actually send me a text message because you don't have my cell phone number, then like you don't have to call me. I'm cool. I appreciate, I do little gifts. I go on, I text and I find a little happy dance or, something that says happy birthday.
Oh, I thought you said gift.
Gifts.
I like a gift, baby. I want a big gift. I don't want little gifts. I want a big gift.
No,
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
There you go, man.
I'm talking GIFs. Okay, GIFs.
I know.
I never know if they're GIFs or gifts. But no. So what I was getting at is we've picked a brain about.
But I got one other thing on the birthday.
Oh yeah.
Remember I said two.
Yeah, you did.
See, you gotta have the recall when you're the speaker and keep your outline even though it's not listed there. The second thing, do this. People will love you for it. You want a relationship? When you text them happy birthday on their birthday or whatever, or call them, then the next day, text them again and say, I know it's not your birthday, but you're still special.
Oh,
or
wow.
something like that, right?
Yes.
I know your birthday was yesterday, but you're still important today. And it's like, oh my, I started, I'll be honest, how did I learn that one? I started doing that with my wife. I would say, hey, I know our anniversary was yesterday, but I still love you today. And she was just like, that is so nice. And I'm like, share it, baby. Go, hey, if it works for her. I mean, look, she's been here hanging with me since 1988. There's something wrong with that woman, right? I mean, she's got some
she
serious,
is special. Yes.
Right. She's got some serious
special.
issues. So, God bless her. So, but I learned that just by saying, hey, because everybody says you're great on your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Who tells you the day after your birthday that you're still great? So all of a sudden, it's like, made that connection.
See, I try telling my wife that's every reason why we do not need to celebrate Valentine's Day. I don't need one day to tell you I love you. Let me tell you I love you every day.
We do that. We'll do. I say everything's married to me is like Valentine's Day, and then I'll say the next thing. Hey, it's the thought that counts, and I was thinking of getting you flowers today.
Yes,
but I didn't do it. But it's the thought that counts. Like, at least I thought it, and I'm all good. So, I'm sorry.
Yep. No. So let's do this because we've hit two of the silos I wanted to hit. We talked about public speaking. We talked about the advice you're giving to the mortgage professionals right now. And you have access to hundreds, if not thousands, of mortgage professionals who look to you for some kind of practical wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
How about Steve the dad? What advice have you doled out to Steve the dad that you look back as Steve the dad to your daughter
And son,
both adults now, right?
Son's 25, daughter will be 17.
Okay,
in December.
so a young adult and a full-blown adult,
Right.
Look,
That's on the full-blown one. That's on the son, not on the daughter.
The male brain doesn't actually fully develop until like age 26, so he still has another year to go. He's still developing.
Yeah.
I have to remind my
Amen
wife
for that.
all the time about our 16-year-old son. I'm like, hey, honey, his brain's still like a decade away from being fully developed. Let's cut him a little bit of slack. He's a great kid, and let's remind ourselves of that. But no, I'm curious because something that we do like to lean into is like everything you should have learned in high school but didn't. So I, as a parent, have taken those things that I wish were taught to me, and I make sure that I give that advice to my children. And your children very much make up the audience, right? They are the demographic we're trying to talk to. For the most part, you and I are set in our ways and kind of, halfway through our careers. Our children they're the future of our country, the future of our industry. What's one or two things that you've made sure that you always told them as they develop from young adult to adult and so on?
The definition of maturity, do you know what it is?
No.
Knowing when you can be immature. That's what it is. Hey, you be immature, be goofy, dance. I say to my kid, that's the definition of maturity, knowing when it's okay to be immature. And then I say, it's awesome to do stupid things because we're going to just don't do stupid impermanent things. Stupid things are fine. Just make sure it's not stupid impermanent.
Yeah,
right?
I'd add one more. Make sure you learn from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
do something silly. Oh man, it was 2 a.m. I decided I wanted to go to Atlantic. Go. Do something stupid or whatever. Just now, don't drink and drive, and then
Yes.
because now we're leading into the permanent part, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay to do something that's stupid. It's okay to have fun. And the other one is stop being so mean to yourself, to everybody. I I have my 4 golden rules, right? Because the golden rules, do unto others as they do unto you. One of them is do unto yourself as you do unto others. How nice are you to other people? Oh, I hold the door for other people. And can I get you a water? And when we look at ourselves, it's like, I lost my keys. I'm the biggest idiot. Oh my God, I'm a moron. We've all, I mean, out loud, we're expressing to the world what an idiot I am. I'm like, no, be as nice. Treat yourself like a customer. Be as nice to yourself.
I love this.
And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, well, why would you be nicer to him than to you?
So is that
look at him smiling over there because he ain't that nice to me. So that's the way that works.
Is that one of your 4 golden rules? Like what are
Yes.
the other? So what are the other 3?
So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's sort of silly because I don't really agree with that. I take it to what I call the platinum rule. It's what? It's do unto others as they wish to be done unto. Mm-hmm. And I learned that real quick because guess what? I'm a lot. Okay, I'm a lot to handle. You know how many cups of coffee I had today? 0. And I called you at God knows what time last night, and we were out there and having fun and da-da-da. I wake up like this, which is really scary. So I have to tone it down. Mm-hmm. Because if I walk into an office, I'm like, hey, how you doing? They're like, oh, stop. And I'm like, do unto others as they wish to be done unto. It's not what I want. It's what they want.
Yeah. I hopped off a phone call with a big recruit last week. And I hung up and I called one of our sales managers. He's like, hey, how'd it go? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I didn't do the best job of mirroring. He's like, what do you mean? I go, well, I'm high energy like you are, Steve. And this guy was like laid back, chill, kind of beach bummy type, and I think I might overdid it. I might have just 100 miles an hour just ran at him, where what I should have done is like, skipped and strolled and strutted and always kept myself like right behind the pendulum on the back side of it, not on the front side or not leading it. So
the other rule is do unto others. No, do for others. Don't do unto anybody. Do for somebody. So I'm a big believer, and some say it's paying it forward or this, that, or the other. But you make somebody else's day, that makes your day.
Yeah.
Every time. Do for others.
I love this. I know you have a flight to catch.
Yes.
I know we're probably running a little bit long on the show. Dude, I'm so appreciative. You and I have been trying to do this for like the past 4 or 5 months, trying to find. Yeah,
let's go to California and not even plan it and say, hey, I mean, my luggage is right over there.
Yeah, so I would have loved to have gone up to Raleigh. I would have loved to have gotten to North Carolina, right? But hey, it worked out this. If people want to find you, what's the best way for someone to find you?
So many. We're all social media people. I mean, I am Steve Richman, and there's Mortgage Mischief with Steve is actually on Facebook. That's sitting there, and it's, by the way, it's Richman. I'm not from Virginia. It's what our goal is, baby. RICHMAN. So you do that. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. You called it the YouTube earlier. I was going to bust your chops. I'm like, okay, it's not the Facebook. It's Facebook. Okay, so
they're changing their name.
YouTube. That's right.
And Facebook may be changing their name, so then we have to like rebrand.
You never know.
Yep.
So so on YouTube, literally, if you want to go and if you type in Steve Richman Mortgage,
you're everywhere.
People, I never even know, but as I'm speaking, I just see these cameras. I don't know that they're even recording me. I thought they were just like, bored and were looking at their phones. No, they were recording. So I'm all over there. And it's S. Richman, Steve Richman, S. Richman at VanDykMortgage.com. And there is no E in VanDyk.
So VanDyk.
Right.
.com.
VanDyk Mortgage.
Oh, mortgage. And mortgage has a T in it. And mortgage has a T.
I was going, I'm like, no E and there is a T. So that's it.
Yeah, well, for 14 years, I've had to tell people D. Owen at Waterstone Mortgage. Mortgage is spelled MORTGAGE.com. And still today, I almost want to text Eric Egenhofer, who founded Waterstone Mortgage, and I want to like text him, WTF, why couldn't we have just been like WTM.com? Like why do we have to do Waterstone Mortgage all spelled out? Like there had to be an easier way.
All right, but we are definitely brothers from other mothers because right now I'm like VanDyk Mortgage. How about VDM?
Yes.
What's easier than VDM?
Yeah, that was WSM, Waterstone Mortgage, WSM.
All right.
But nonetheless,
I'm on the branding team, right? And so I'm always trying something.
Yeah, I think it's too late now because both companies have been well established and people know how to get a hold of everyone by using that particular handle.
For sure.
So you're stuck with your email address. I'm stuck with my email address. Our audience, they're not stuck with us anymore. Unless they want to come back and listen to us or review us. Maybe they want to find us on social because we are on the Facebook. We are on the LinkedIn. I also call it the Google. But it is at the Loan Officer Podcast, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
and that
LinkedIn.
is why you are the old guy. So yeah,
Yes.
there we go. We just
Yes,
throw that
and
out
I
there.
am Dustin Owen on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easy to find.
And I'm Steve Richman.
He's Steve Richman, Richman. Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Audience, that's all the time we have for you today, but we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for sharing us. Thank you for liking us. And enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Cheers.